Greetings, 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 greetings. I am your gracious host. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Listen. I don't know how everyone day has went, but I hope it was wonderful. I came with a super special edition. Um, for those that know me or whatever, from way back when in yester YouTube year, I often do certain little lives on holidays and things of that nature. Now, this live here is not to it is not in the way that my title may make have you think, you know what I'm saying? It's a reason why I'm going to use that title. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Please hit the thumbs up. I can't say that I apologize for not having no tea, no saga tea today, but I do got some Jesus tea. I do got some Jesus tea, and I have a little something that a lot of people may very well find interesting. So if you would like to join me on this actually very special day, I would love for you to be a part of this journey, and I won't be here very long. I won't be here very long. Oh, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Hold on, y'all. I gotta go get my drink, but I'm gonna take y'all with me. Oh, hey, Miss Lynn. Hey, Kim. Hey, Lady E. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? I feel that we are certainly in for a bit of a treat. All right. I think we in for a bit of a treat. Hold on. Gotta get something to drink. J Bands, Keybo. Hey, loves. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Grab this water. Um, y'all hear my stomach growling. My brunch has wore off, but I wanted to do this live before I ate Sunday dinner. Come on, go see. Before I ate Sunday dinner or whatever and get like settled into my Sunday evening. So listen, Linda. Uh let's see here. All right. I am glad that I have the heat about took me out messing with these kids. Now, for whoever is here, the first thing I want you to know really quickly is that this live here is not a live based on Easter rabbits, eggs, or me, actually speaking about, too much Easter at all. Um, Come on, Miss Heard was paying attention in class. Baby girl was paying attention in class. But listen, Miss Heard, that's how I'm talking about coming up in here. You heard me. I am a spiritual person, not a religious one, though I do believe in the purpose of the triune. I do believe in the Holy Trinity, and I believe in one true living entity, overseer of all things, power of all power holders. and so forth. However, and there ain't no however on that. Let's say moving forward. Hey, Miss Dion Clyde, I'm excited to have you in the house. Listen, Linda. Now, I want to take y'all in a very interesting walk real quick, okay? And I'm excited to share this with you all. I do want to say, due to my title, Happy Resurrection Sunday, which is what the day is reserved for. Um, it is, we have to realize I'm kind of getting back to want to teach my people some things, you know what I mean? And it's not to take you away from what what you believe in, but it's actually to take you on a journey of, if you do believe in certain things, then it will make you more powerful to reserve it in the way that it should be reserved. So yesterday I touched base about Easter and the fact that it had nothing to do with now I do know that we we do a lot for the kids, you know what I'm saying? Dyeing eggs, and we've made candy and certain things like that a part of a lot of our traditions and gift giving and all that good stuff. And I'm not going to derail it for you. I get now that, due to society and things like that, um, it just has become something that people are accustomed to. But however, I am not going to try to take away from you. I'm actually just coming to add to. You know what I'm saying? And welcome in, everybody. It's really beautiful to see y'all on this evening. And I just wanted to kick some flavor with my people. You know what I'm saying? you know? So, anywho, and I should not expect that, due to my title, that anyone should really think that we're in here spilling any tea, or, or we're not in here saga related. And so I did that purposely. Didn't want to be doing no clickbaiting. I didn't want to nothing. I wanted you to know exactly what you was walking into. But you will actually, if you stick around, you'll have such an understanding on a journey you might not know that I'm going on in this segment. So let's go. Now, happy Resurrection Sunday to all my lovely people out there. And today I want to talk to those that do follow certain traditions or religions, things of that nature. Now, all right, Zaylani, Carvota, D. Adams, Self Love, all the beauties in the building. I see y'all. Now, what we already talked about yesterday, we already talked about how dyeing eggs and candy and all of that stuff has nothing, and rabbits have nothing to do with Easter, and Easter has nothing to do with the resurrection. Yeah, understand? Easter has nothing to do with the resurrection. It was not spoken of. The word Easter, I don't recall ever really reading that word in the word, and nor was there eggs served at Passover, nor did God ever mention anything about rabbits during those 3 days. However, we gonna snap up into it, and I ain't here to hurt nobody. Praise the Lord. Now, I've always done my fair share of research, so I don't want to take nothing too fast or none of that or whatever. I don't want to take nobody too fast, but I do want to take you somewhere. So, one thing we have to be careful of is that in the word, it also shows us so much warning. It also shows us where others have made mistakes. And for those that do read the word, hey, Pennyweed, hey, how are you, sweetheart? Um, One thing is Ezekiel's vision in Ezekiel 8 16, Ezekiel had a vision that he saw men worshiping the sun in the East Temple. Hold on. Oh, okay, sorry, I was being nosy outside. Thought somebody was at my house. Worshiping in the East. Happy thank you, Miss Lynn. Have a good day, sweetheart. It was so good to see you. Now, now Ezekiel saw pictured, these men worshiping, what I'm saying, worshiping the sun. And we know that it didn't give Ezekiel a good feeling to have that vision because you know, our God, your God, their God is a jealous God and doesn't want anything worshiped like his holiness. And so Mark 7 and 9 gives us a warning and says, you reject the commandments of God so you can keep your own traditions. Now, with all of that has to do with when people claim a religion or whatever, to understand the word is to understand it as it's given to you. It's not to fit a narrative to make our lives easier, to make the things that we want to do seem better, like we discussed the other day about decorating Christmas trees, which it tells uh those that believe in God not to do, but people do it because it became part of a um pagan traditions, plain and simple. Shout out to Nail. I see you, baby. So in Mark 7 and 9, it gives us that warning saying you are rejecting God's commandments so that you can keep your own traditions. Now, this is when those who label themselves Christians would have to do some reflecting. Now, we're not all perfect, but we just have to understand what the word is telling us, right? So it's telling us that we got to stay away from man's traditions so you can focus on the commandments. So you can focus on what you're supposed to be doing and not what you think is a part of things that actually take your mind away from what it's all about. So I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone, but this is what understanding things is, to where you have to ask yourself, well, is this a religion you actually do follow, so to speak? Because during Christmas or during Resurrection Sunday, Christmas is supposed to be observed as his birthday, which I already discussed with y'all, is not um Jesus's birthday, and he was born in either spring, late spring, or summer month. However, um, we have to realize that in our homes, it is decorated. And when I'm using that lightly, I'm just going ahead and making us a whole real quick. But we have these themes of snowmen and reindeer and Santa Clauses. And even that word Santa, how weird that you can spell Satan with the same letters, eh? But I digress. However, we adorn our homes with all of these things that have nothing to do with celebrating Jesus's birthday. And when I spoke about those things yesterday, about the wise men giving Jesus offerings and not each other, it's because propaganda has made people look at it as a day you're supposed to gift each other. Well, you're really supposed to do acts of you know kindness and in the way of God, help the homeless, spread the word, and what would Jesus do? You hear me? Anywho, however, again, let's move forward. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Resurrection Sunday. Now, my main purpose of coming here is not to break down pagan traditions, actually. Today, I have a more interesting thing I wanted to talk about. well, not more interesting, but something just as interesting, shall I say. So about resurrection, a lot of people kind of debate, well, if Jesus died on Friday, well, how could he have risen on a Sunday? Well, to be fair, Friday to Sunday morning, either way you look at it, would not equate to 3 days and 3 nights, which it specifies in the Bible. And even Jesus, told his disciples the same thing. This was repeated. It would be 3 days and 3 nights. And he would rise the morning after that third night. Okay. It didn't say 3 days and 2 nights. It said 3 days and 3 nights. But it says that Jesus rose, I believe, Sunday morning, right? Now, hey, Miss Ducksworth, what I find interesting and why I say people have to be careful of, is the word of God just words, or is it something that people really read to understand, read to inform themselves on how to move through life, right? Now, let me tell you what I find interesting about the resurrection. It was 3 days and 3 nights, but what we have to remember is that back in the times of Jesus, I mean, back in the times of God, creating everything, there was not a measurement of time how we measure it today with hours. 72 hours was not 3 days in the way that we would look at it, right? A lot of people do not pay attention that in the Bible itself, first of all, a lot of people will say, well, Friday morning to Saturday morning marks one day, then to Sunday morning is 2 days. How was he, you know, you know, how was he laid down to rest for 3 days if he rose on Sunday morning? Well, I have to tell you all, hey, Simply Toya, I have to let you all know that due to time and people changing things or whatever, people took their eye off how God set up the world, okay? The atmosphere, how God set everything up, right? If you was to look in the Bible in Genesis 1, when God was creating everything, you would see that a day started in the evening. First of all, let me pull this up. I was getting a text. Sorry, loves. Let me pull this up. All right. Hey, Miss Liznet, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so 2 times God let us know that the evening started a day. If I'm not mistaken. Let me get this right here for you. And if you have your own Bibles handy, you can also pull this out as well. However, 2 times in Genesis 1, and it starts in verse 5. If anybody does have their Bible out on Resurrection Sunday, it said in verse 5, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. The evening and the morning was the first day. This means that Thursday night actually, which was the now Thursday, at the end of Thursday, right? I'm about to make this make sense. Was Passover, okay? Was the Passover meal. However, the word evening comes from the eve of a new day. It's the eve of something, right? So if it's evening, this means that it is right before a new day starts. So technically, hold on, y'all, I got a call. Technically, Friday would have actually started. What we consider Thursday evening is when Friday would have actually started. The end of Friday would have been right before Saturday evening. So if you look at it the way God set it up, a day started at the end at the eve of a new day. For instance, Thursday would have been what we consider Wednesday evening. When sunset, at sunset is actually when a new day starts. Let me make it make sense to you like that. Sunset is actually when a new day starts, which is why you are supposed to rest, pray, meditate, things of that nature, because in the daylight, which has nothing to do with a day starting, okay? Daylight and morning has nothing to do with the start of a day. Eve is evening for a reason. It's the eve of a new day starting. So that means that what we consider Thursday at sunset, we still consider it Thursday until midnight. And then we say Friday. But that is not how God set up time. When he created daylight, when there were darkness representing night and light representing daylight and morning. It had nothing to do with when a day started. And again, God reminds us of this in I know everybody might not be into this good stuff, but I'm just helping you, you know what I mean? Sometimes pagan traditions and things will take your power away. Like, you know what I mean? People wonder why they can't spiritually get to the next level or whatever. It's because when you get all your holy days and days of worship, it gets all misconstrued when you're not going by how it is, if you know, it's actually set up. But again, in Genesis 1 and 8, it says, and God called the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament. Excuse me. Hold up. I'm reading you the wrong one. Hold up. Yes. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So it says, and God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning was the second day. This is the second time where God puts evening first and morning second, and considering it a full day. That's right there in the word. Right there in the word. Just like in verse 5, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So this is how it is so that Jesus's death was for 3 days and 3 nights, because it started at sunset, which was considered Friday, sunset on Thursday, because evening starts right before sunset. Sunset is the start of a new day. So Thursday at sunset to Friday sunset was 1 day. Sunset Friday to sunset Saturday was 2 days. Sunset Saturday to sunset Sunday was 3 days. Now I got 20 people in here. Anybody following me? Anybody following me? Anybody know what language I'm talking about? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. If I'm confusing you, let me know. I pause for the cause. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hey, Miss Michelle. All right, I'm back, you guys. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Give me 1 second. Let me drink a little bit of water. And even if you did not know, even in Hebrew, evening and morning means beginning and ending. Even in Hebrew, yes, beginning and ending. So evening means beginning in Hebrew, and morning means ending. And what we have to understand is um some of our earliest, biblical teachings written in Hebrew. You know, a lot of things were changed during with this English and with different languages and pronunciations and things of that nature. However, if we were to really break down words, words are everything, and it helps us to understand, and it helps us to be deprogrammed because um, though something may be recognized because somebody said this, how we gonna recognize it to make it easier for us or make it make sense? You have to realize, why was all these things changed to where resurrection Sunday was always recognized on the same day when the calendar, the original calendars. But when months was given different days instead of all of the same days, which was originally 28 days, it then through Easter all around to where it's celebrated in March, it's celebrated in um April, it changes. Why? Because you can change the day of Easter. Easter is the day to celebrate the fertility god, Ishtar. You can change what day you want to celebrate a fertility goddess. But you can't change the day that Jesus died and was resurrected. If he died on April 3rd, then, I mean, it should at best be celebrated every first Friday of April, if anything. When you change the dynamics, you change the power of what you're even recognizing. Because somebody said recognize it this way. But if you read the word and it's telling you that you should recognize a new day as, for instance, soon the sun will be setting, and it will be recognizing right before the sunset will be the eve of Monday. Yesterday at sunset was considered the beginning of Sunday. Sunday comes to a close right before the sun sets. Then starts a new day, which is when on a new day, this is why at sunset, prayer and meditation is supposed to start before rest. Because why wouldn't you supposed to start your day with God and with resting for the work ahead for the rest of the day? See, you work when you rise from your rest into the eve comes, marking the end of the day. This is why in other religions and things of that nature, um, prayer starts around like 6 o'clock. Most probably pray and meditate and things of that nature. A lot of people don't eat from 6 to 6. They reserve their bodies for prayer and meditation. That is for your mind and your spirit, and then rest for the body. Then when your body rises for the second half of that new day, of that day, excuse me, after your work is done, before at sunset, it marks the end of your day. But once you can actually make this make sense, is why prayer begins at sunset, because you're starting your day with God. You're replenishing your spirit first thing in the start of a new day. It makes perfect divine sense. If Christianity is your religion, this is why these things is recognized, and this will help you also understand how to explain why 3 days and 3 nights was possible. you know if anybody ever asks you, you can explain to them that in Genesis it says evening starts a new day. It's the beginning. Morning is the end. When you tilling, when you're working, when you're building, it's making your day make sense. It's making the resurrection make sense. It's making your timelines make sense. It's understanding when we put emphasis on traditions that take away from the recognizing Jesus and what those 3 days really represented. What happened in those 3 days? Most families don't even share the story of the resurrection with up and coming new generations. They don't even talk about, a lot of generations think that Easter is especially the ones now think that Easter is all about going to take pictures with the Easter bunny in the mall. It's about hiding eggs. It's about chocolate bunny candy and pastel colors. None of this, it's all propaganda. But this is how a lot of children are being raised, to put more focus on, are we dying eggs? Are we hiding candy? Are we doing this or doing that? They don't even know the story behind the resurrection, behind the Passover meal, which was, as we all know, lamb, bread, wine, things of that nature. So, in essence, when we don't, there is no need to mention, it is no need to go to church and listen to the story of the resurrection. And then the rest of the day is about eggs and Easter bunnies. Why? Because it takes away from the resurrection at all. If in your heart it's about God's resurrection, it should not be about spending half the day in church learning about the resurrection of what the day is all about, but yet spend the second half of the day praising and worshiping the fertility goddess. It truly is it's a contradiction. On a holy day, people will give honor to another god on a holy day. On a day supposedly reserved for observing Jesus' birthday, people observe each other. It's about buying a bunch of stuff, giving a bunch of people a bunch of things that nobody really needs half the time. But that's what it ends up about. I got 28 people in the building. Is y'all listening to me? What y'all doing? I appreciate you for being here. I just want to know where you at with it. If any of this makes sense to you. Hey, Blue Outlaw, come through. Come through. Come through. Another thing, it is also why in a lot of places, like I told y'all yesterday, when I spoke about Saturday, now, and I spoke about Saturday and Sunday, and interestingly enough, a lot of people does not recognize Saturday as the last day of the week, even though it is considered the seventh day. It's the seventh day of the week. And Sunday actually marks the beginning of a new week. Monday recognizes the beginning of a work week. This is why it's important in a lot of religions to worship and praise on Saturdays and not on Sundays, because Saturday is the seventh day of the week and also the day that the Lord rested after all his works. Again, this is showing um even in God's plan, even how God did all this work to set up the heavens, the earth, the light, the day, the night, the darkness, all of this. God rested on the seventh day, which is considered Saturday. As we learned yesterday, Sabado in Spanish, very close to the word Sabbath. Because of so many traditions that we get accustomed to, because we make it okay for people to, change your culture, change how you do your religion. It's in the word how to do your religion if you are a Christian. It really does, either you are either you with pagan traditions or you are with Christianity. But to mix the two together actually takes away from the original point of it all. It actually takes away. And a lot of people, excuse me, do not like to recognize this because, excuse me, I'm burping water. It takes the fun out of, things you can do for your kids. It takes away the fun out of Christmas if you can't decorate a tree, if you can't put up lights, if you can't do this or do that. But that is why in Matthew it says you reject the commandments of God so you can keep your own traditions. We turn away from these kind of teachings because why? It we would then have to reject our own traditions to keep God's commandments. So a lot of people don't like to even apply the word because clearly the word ain't no fun. So I say all this to say this is why when it comes to religion, people do have to realize where that fault line is. That fault line is. Hey, that great word everybody loves, accountability. Accountability to your religion. Again, I'm spiritual, not religion, but I can touch base with you on whatever. I'll be open to whatever kind of conversations or whatnot. But like I said, a lot of people don't like to tie it in. We ignore it, but it's like, no, the word tells you shouldn't be decorating things and praising other things, putting up a Santa Claus all over your house. Because why? You putting an image in your house that has nothing to do with me. What would a Santa Claus have to do with my birthday? What does a snowman, either you celebrating winter and if you want to consider Christmas a winter festival instead of recognizing it as Jesus's birthday, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you cannot recognize it as Jesus's birthday, but then you go put an image of someone else all around your home. You go and worship a tree instead of opening up the word on Christmas, reading his word, reminding yourself of the word. Pray is being in prayer, doing good deeds for others less fortunate or things like that. Instead, we give to people who already got, because it's part of a pagan tradition. We spend all this money and it has nothing to do with celebrating Jesus. We celebrate each other with gifts, with dinners and things of that nature. It has nothing to do with Jesus' birthday. That's something that Christians and like-minded people have to really realize, that when you tap into these things, you don't realize how much more power that you can have behind your word. That's what you call tapping into your word, not just reading it. When you tap in, it means you actually tapping into the understanding of what's presented to you. That's actually what church is for. Those who can't break it down, you go to the school of God and have it broken down for you, have it taught to you. But a person like me, I'm self-taught in these things. I know how to break down words and break down points and perspectives, just like nobody ever talked about the start of a day being evening. But it's right there in the very first chapter, first few verses of the Bible. And it's right there. Come on, keeping it real. Help me out with the help out. It ain't me trying to change nothing for nobody's life. It's me saying you can't ignore what should be recognized. Either enjoy pagan traditions, like Mark said, reject your commandments and keep your traditions. You can't do both and know it. And know it. No dang on well Santa and them ain't got nothing. So now the kids is saying a disguised word that sounds an awful lot like Satan. So everybody's chanting Santa, Santa. You want to see Santa? You want to see Santa? You want to see Satan? You want to see Satan? You want to see Satan? You want to see Santa? I ain't trying to scare nobody now. But I be having to stand firm in my square. Ain't the devil always trying to trick you out of tapping into God's power? Ain't Satan always trying to get your mind off God? But as Christians, a lot of people aren't even strong enough to recognize the trick of the dang on devil. Missing out on the power your prayers could actually have. Missing out on the fruits in the life you could actually have if this is what your beliefs are. Why would a image of someone become the face of the day that supposed to represent Jesus' birthday, but you can make the word Satan out of their name? Because Satan trying to trick you. Satan trying to trick you out of putting the attention to praising your God and putting that attention on him on what's supposed to be a holy day. Satan is trying to trick you and have you thinking about bunny rabbits and eggs and chocolates instead of recognizing the resurrection, not just when you spend 2 hours in church listening to the pastor give you the message. Satan is tricking you fresh out the doors of the church, fresh out the doors of Target to get Christmas trees and decorations and all of this. When God said don't do it, but on his day, on the day recognized for his birth, we gonna do exactly what his commandments say don't do. Come on, Miss Heard. On the holy day, on the day of his resurrection, most kids is looking for the Easter bunny instead of learning about why those 3 days was so important and what does it do for God's people. They're not learning about that. They are learning about, is the Easter bunny coming? Are we hiding eggs after church? The devil is trying to trick you. The devil is trying to trick God's people through making your traditions not based on your most high. It's replacing your images of God with images of Easter bunnies, Santa Clauses, snowmen, reindeer. It has you thanking God for a blessed new year on January the 1st when the world is still sleeping, when the ground is still frozen. It wants you to remember God during the sleep of the world, the slumber of the world, during the desolation of the world, when things have died off. It wants you to thank God for a new year instead of in the spring when new life begins. When the world wakes up and the sun is closer to the earth, when the ground gets warm and the grass starts to grow, and the deers and the antelopes play, when the birds are out singing, new life. The earth is what's telling the story right around us. New life. Marks the beginning of a new year when the flowers bloom and you seeing green again. We have to pay attention. When things start to grow back, we should thank God because the we have vegetation growing back again. The birds can fly back. The bears can come out of their caves and out of their slumbers. Look towards the animals. Even the animals follow his commandments. They are up early in the morning. You see the birds up early in the morning, feeding, eating, bathing, flying, getting exercise, building nests. Even the birds are showing you. Then around sunset, it gets quieter because it's time for rest. It's time to rest. Because the new day begins with rest for the animals. The lions return to their dens. So I'm just taking you on this journey of how, because of Roman ideas and ideals, so many things have been flipped all around. And when we don't do our homework, we're not, you see everything that people do as so-called Christians doesn't even line up with the Bible. People are rest on Sundays and consider the Sunday the last day before Monday, the new work week. But if Saturday's the seventh day and that's when God rested, hey, Miss Dee Dee, why would people be observing Sundays as a day of praise and worship? Because someone changed the calendar. And that calendar should not have to matter, except with, of course, the modern times when it comes to, your work week or however it is that it goes with modern times. But when it comes to praising, when it comes to um, worshiping on the right days, all of that, it lies in your hands as a person who understands the word. It doesn't lie with society and what day society is telling you to observe something. Clearly, society is rogue. If you see Easter is on a different day, sometimes a different month every year, sometimes April, sometimes March. Yet it says Jesus died on April 3rd. On the first Friday of April. So why wouldn't it be observed every first Friday of April, no matter what the date is? Why do that ever have to change? Because that's what man can do, to take your power away from your religion. Have you praying wrong? Have you praying at the wrong times? Have you all over the place? Till you are further and further and further away from the word. But yeah, you can recite it. You can recite it. Oh, that's fine and dandy. But what does it do for your life if you don't even know what any of this means? If you don't even know what this means. Mm, mm, mm. Anybody have any thoughts? I got 34 people in here. Anybody got any questions, any thoughts, any concerns? Yep, absolutely. Even though Passover should always be Thursday. Because if Passover was before the day before Friday, and keep in mind, like I said, Thursday would have ended Thursday at sunset. Friday began at sunset on Thursday, what we consider Thursday evening, Thursday night. We still consider it Thursday, but God did not set it up that way. Keep in mind, you know. But let me see. Absolutely get myself together. Absolutely keeping it real. Come on. Well, technically, what I would put it as, I would say God technically died with what we would consider Thursday, Thursday, and I would have considered Passover what we would have considered Wednesday night. But in biblical times would have been um the beginning of Thursday, which was in our times Wednesday night. So I wouldn't say that he died on Wednesday. I would say he died on Thursday, what we would consider Thursday night, but it was technically the beginning of Friday. Hey, J. Lou, how are you? That's how I would line that up according to, you know. That's how I would line that up. That's how I would line that up. See. Yes, yes, yes. That is the best way to put that. No cap. I've done the research after the research after the research, you know, and in other um religious books as well. I've compared, contrasted, and all of that. It's a little off due to the difference. Yes, yes, keeping it real. And that's completely acceptable. Absolutely. And that's a big part of what I'm trying to teach here is that you know, because of how things have changed due to the calendar, due to days being added to months, and because originally it was 28 days in a month, to where it was kind of each month had the same amount of days, you know, originally. But when the calendar has changed over time, you know, it threw a lot of things off. Hey, Rashida, baby. Let me see. Oh, shout out to your son and his girlfriend, baby. Uh, let me see. Happy Resurrection Sunday. Happy Resurrection Sunday. Yes. Ooh. And it also says that Jewish Passover was always the same day as Jesus' Passover. So them American pagan traditions took over it. We had a we ate late today. So we're having dinner probably in about by 8. Let me see. Absolutely, absolutely getting myself together. Absolutely, absolutely. Just like the emperor, the a Roman emperor Constantine, you know, he played a vital role in um starting Christianity. And that's why the picture of him is what people are praying to. We talked about that. You know, the picture of Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes is of the depiction of the Emperor Constantine, you know? And so therefore it's like people have these hangings of a person that has nothing to do with, you know, he has everything to do with the start of, I won't even say with the start of it, of the Christianity of Christianity or whatever, but I will say of it being a King James version type of thing, you know. um King James and Constantine definitely you know, has some dealings with all of that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything worked. Wouldn't you agree, keeping it real, that when it was 10 months, it was that's when every month had 28 days, right? Exactly. Come on, Liznet. Come on. Now y'all talking to me. Come on now. Do we need to talk about the moon cycles? Do we need to talk about period cycles? Do we need to come on with it? Now 28 days for a reason. Come on now, y'all talking. Now y'all starting to get cooked up around here. Now you starting to get cooked up, and I like it. I like it. Now, come on, keeping it. Come on now, Miss Liz Net. Y'all getting cooking down there now. Talk about that 28-day cycle, baby. Come on, let's talk about that 28-day month calendar, baby. Let's talk about that 28-day moon cycle, baby. I don't know if people really hear. Exactly, Rashida. With skin of that like a burning furnace. You heard me. Come through. Come through. Now you're talking. I ain't taking you away from Jesus. I'm not taking you away from worshiping. I'm not taking you away from that. I'm opening your eyes to a greater power within the religion that you claim. You can't read in the word that he was described as hair of wool and let's go, boy. Don't I remember them days? Hey, Patina. Happy Resurrection Sunday. You can't read in the Bible that he had hair like wool. You can't read in the Bible that he had skin of like a burning furnace, but then hang a pale faced, blue-eyed, blonde-haired man on your wall. Ain't no way. You got to make your own religion make sense. Huh? Most movies that y'all watch that have to do with Jesus, all the disciples are dark haired, brown eyed, dark haired, brown eyed. How did a pale faced, long haired, blue eyed man get in the center of all these brown faces? Why would that even be? Why would he pass through a mother of dark brown hair, being God's child, Joseph as his father? Why would he be given to them with blonde hair and blue eyes when Joseph and Mary both had brown hair and brown eyes? Why would he be depicted like a white man amongst all these brown people? It's crazy work. Crazy work, man. Listen. Crazy work. Mm-mm. Oh yeah. It's let's see. Absolutely, Rashida. Absolutely. Um, absolutely. But it's right there, though. It's right there, though. It's right there, though. Because why? The Bible is a King James, the original Bible from here is King James version, right? But King James was considered a rainbow man. He was considered a rainbow man. Yet that was frowned upon in the Bible. So I don't really think he would have added something in the Bible that would go against his own lifestyle as a king. But I think over time people used these different things as a way to push their own narratives. That's what I think. Is it true that each time on the cloud represents a bias scripture? I'm not sure, Ro, baby. I can look further into that so I can come back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly, keeping it real. Thank you for helping me out here. Exactly. Exactly. That was for due to their own superstitions. That's what I'm trying. I'm eating pistachios, y'all. Um, that's what I'm trying to get people to see. Keeping it real, that because the Romans was changing things according to how they felt. Their superstitions. You changing the ordinance of days, the ordinance of how the months work due to your superstitions. That's some crazy work. I'm gonna definitely look into that, Ro. Hey, Miss Yolanda. Hmm. Now, what in the heck do Roman superstitions have to do with when you observe God's resurrection, when you observe God's birthday? Mm, they made December 25th. Before it was recognized as Jesus' birthday, it was recognized as celebrating the unconquering sun. And since it was already a popularized date, they used that date to also recognize Jesus' birthday. See how that calendar controls you? That calendar controls you religiously. Hmm. Absolutely keeping it real. He that was his role. He approved it. Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. But but guess why that screws you up? Because in different places, in different cultures, words mean different things. You know? So when you translate a word according to your own language's understanding, I mean, like if you look at the Hebrew word, let me see. I ain't got my notes in my hand right now. Hold on. Absolutely. Yet they say the first accounts was taken as early as 20 years after Jesus' death. As early as 20 to 70 years after Jesus' death. That's a lot of years of translation to get to 1611. Come on, keeping it real. Come on. Okay, Blue. Good to see you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Hebrew text, which was, of course, one of the first um transcripts of the Bible, which was in Hebrew, dates back to when? 10,000? Um, 10,000, maybe BC. You can check that out and confirm in the chat if you want to. Written on stones. Written on stones. That's a whole lot of damn translating. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mhm. And y'all, it's also important to translate words when you read in the Bible. Translate it from English to Hebrew. What does it mean in Hebrew? Because when you try to translate the Bible from an English dictionary, words can mean different things. I always see what something translates to Hebrew meanings. Mhm. Let's see. But yep. Um, Come on, Miss Hart. Exactly. Exactly. You gotta translate the original language. Mm, this motherfucker is so good. I'm almost done eating, y'all. Mm-hmm. Okay, I only got 3 left. Damn, it's Herb, and I just got it. Damn, it's Herb. You set me up. You set me up. I promise you. Soon I just said, dang, these things good as heck. And soon as you said it, that was happening in real time. In real time. I ain't even lying to you. I wouldn't lie to you. That was a setup. You spoke that into existence. Mm-mm. Every last pistachio worked out. Except that one when you wrote that in the chat. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Misheard. Let me drink some water. So, hold on. All right, Miss Heard. You knew Jesus was in here. You knew Jesus was in here, and Jesus will send a sign even through a pistachio. You see how we getting powered up. Even though Jesus had to work through a pistachio, I think he letting us know I'm on to something. I had to take one for the team because that's what I gave Jesus to work with in this time was pistachios. But listen, Linda, listen. You knew Jesus was gonna show up. Okay. Yes. Jesus sent a word through the pistachios. Like, yep. Period. Yep. The word is moving through the chat, honey. Came by way of pistachio. See. But so for those of you all that's still with me and was patient enough to let me munch on pistachios during this broadcast, because I told you before I started I was hungry, but I didn't want to eat first because that would have made me like get the itis or whatever. But as I get ready to definitely I felt bad when I had to find out about this when it's still going through. We had to find out about what I love pistachios too. They was banging. Absolutely. Absolutely, Ro baby. Absolutely. So yeah, that is why I really wanted to bring all of this up is to just bring some attention to how we do observe these holy days and how we can get them the biggest point was getting things misconstrued when we don't do our homework and we don't ask ourselves why is this way. We just go along with it and it has us all discombobulated. It is why in so many religions, like I said before, a lot of people begin prayer um um at 6 o'clock, um and pray and rest from 6 to 6. It is why people do all their working and eating and things of that nature, because again, y'all, even your body, when you're eating, your body is working. So when you cut off your eat just from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then you get into prayer and meditation and things like that, you then give your body time to rest. Because if you are trying to rest, your body isn't resting when it's still digesting snacks. And if you're anything like me, child, I eat throughout the night, child. I reach over and gotta have me a this or that or whatever. And so we're not letting our bodies rest. We're not letting our minds get into a rest, you know. When we leave our TVs playing all night, subconsciously our body, our mind is trying to connect with the sounds, you know, making it sometimes sleep comes a little harder because we're not allowing our mind to wind down properly, which is why reading is a better choice to help you to fall asleep, you know. um to me, um because it's actually helping you to concentrate on something right before bedtime. So it actually, you know, the reading makes me sleepy. You know what I'm saying? Because it requires me to process. I now it's better to not do anything when you're trying to wind your body down, but it's real hard when you spent the day with distractions and birds chirping, TVs going, family laughter, all kind of stuff. So it's hard to be completely noiseless, but yep, you get the motion. But I just want to open up doors over here for people to tap into a greater spiritual position with themselves, and just try to, you know, uh be able to explain some things better if you know it yourself. You know, I know a lot of people that can't explain certain things, but it makes sense. Whether you believe in it or not is a different thing, but the story is the story. And so to understand the story is to not just read it, but to understand the words. Uh, let's see. Yes, keeping it real and working together with others like yourself. Like how keeping it real did a fabulous job helping me navigate this thing right there from the chat, and I greatly appreciate it. Um, she was reminding me of things that I had just read about last night, but forgot to incorporate in my notes. Let me see. Um, mm, wow, not embarrass you in front of the whole church. Absolutely, keeping it real. God pay attention to words. Got to pay attention to words and things that are chanted and all of that. Let me see. Mm, I'm eating a Jolly Rancher now. Okay, let's see. Absolutely, Miss Heard. I used to do them all the time. Um, I really love talking about all this kind of stuff. I'm really interested in everything, you know. So, that is I'm totally for it, Miss Heard. Pardon me, y'all. I'm reading something real quick. Okay, I'm back. Where can I send you my Bible's break room? These are the books they took out of King James version. Um, it depends on how do you want to send them. I may already have them. You should let me know because I want to also tap. Oh, y'all misheard everybody. If you want to, thank you to Miss D Adams for even saying that, because I used to talk about different books in the Bible that was not in the Bible, and I want you all to check them out if you're into it. Like the Jubilees, and oh my goodness, it's so many, like the Giants, and I've actually read quite a few. And I'm going to suggest that you all check them out. Yes, I read the Book of Enoch. Goodness gracious, let me see. I'm trying to think of the ones I actually read. The Book of Enoch, the Gospel of Thomas, the Jubilees is one of my favorites. Let me see. The one that's about how giants were created by the angels that was cast down from heaven, got the mix and mingling with the people who was already down here creating giants. I read the Book of Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden. Jubilee is very interesting, and it is one of my favorites. Maccabees. Let me see. Let me say. Um, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And I can actually tell y'all about them. If y'all want me to do that on Sunday, matter of fact, we can talk about. I can give you a little synopsis on some of the books that were taken out, and you will find a huge interest. I'm sure it will. Yes, thank you, keeping it real, my sister. Thank you so much. Thank you. We can actually start talking about some of the books that were removed, and I think that would be very fascinating, because I've already found so many fascinating, um let me see. I'm trying to think of this one. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find one that is one of my favorites. And you can also read about these different books. If you don't have the book, these stories are also told on many different channels across YouTube. Um, I can actually put the link on my community wall for you, along with a list to start with if you want. Let me see. I'm trying to find my specific list before I go. But shit. Uh, let me see. Mm, 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 mm. It is a great list that I started with. For some reason, I cannot find it, but I will. I will. Let me see. Yeah, I'll find it. I don't want to hold y'all up, but I do want to thank y'all for joining me this Sunday. It's 7:45, so I'm gonna get ready to have Sunday dinner. Hey, slow bus rider, but we will come back and talk about more of this on Sunday. If you guys would like, we can talk about some of those lost books of the Bible, and if you all even want to watch one day, we absolutely can watch one together, and I can hang out with you all in the chat and we can talk about it. And yeah, um that's really that on that. If anybody wanted to bless this chat, you are welcome to do so, but I didn't even want to mention that throughout this live. So we are at the end, but happy Resurrection Sunday. Happy Resurrection Sunday. I love you all so, so much. And I will probably see y'all, tomorrow or something like that. Thank you for joining me because I am your gracious host, Tiff the Gift. And you are in the break room 411. God is good all the time. Never doubt it. Never lose your faith. Never get off your square. Straight like that. And yes, y'all tap in, look on YouTube. There's some great stories on a lot of the lost books or books that were not added, and you will enjoy it. And maybe next week we can watch one together. I love y'all. Blessings on blessings on blessings. You already know. Thank you so, so much. Thank you for a happy resurrection to you, even though I'm 64. But you know what? I learned a little bit more each day. Come on, Miss Fatina. Come on. That's all it is to it, is that we learn a little bit. Thank you for my first super of this beautiful live, J. Lou. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, baby girl. That mean I can't say I did the live and didn't get not one. You know what I'm saying? But yo, in honor of Jesus, this is, all praises to him, and all worship and acknowledgement. The gift is the word and the understanding. So with that being said, thank y'all for being a friend. Just like Keeping It Real says, and I really appreciate you keeping it real for helping me out in the chat. You are wonderful with it. You are truly, truly a gem. Shout out to all my beautiful mods. I love y'all. Blessings to the whole break room family. Later.